Hello, everyone, and hope you're all having an amazing day or had an amazing day, depending on your current time zone. So, today I wanted to talk a little bit about creatine. I think I'm saying that right. But it's a chemical waste product that is generated from muscle metabolism. This is a huge part of your ability to monitor how well your kidneys are actually functioning. It's created from creatinine, and it's the compound that helps provide energy to your muscles. So it's really, really how you pretty much function on a day to day basis. So the reason we found out that my oldest daughter was having kidney problems and my youngest was kind of showing signs of that as well was because of their creatinine levels. And this is something that you can actually identify just from a urine sample. So this is key in being able to stay on top of your kidney functions, because kidneys, people don't realize how important your kidneys are until you do not have them. Why it's important to check your creatinine levels is because when your kidneys are not functioning properly, what happens is that less creatinine is filtered out. And this leads to a buildup of creatinine in the blood, which can be a sign of kidney disease or other issues that are impacting your kidneys. So if you're able to identify these issues early, this is a really good way to address an issue or a possible serious issue that can lead to a catastrophic one. So welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you guys that are new to my channel, welcome back to my seasoned subscribers. My name is Kathy, and on Mondays I do videos all about fashion, accessories, just fun things that I enjoy doing to keep my mind off of the second half of the week videos, which are all about my two girls and their two journeys, battling two diseases, TSC and FSGS. TSC being tuberous sclerosis complex, or tumors that can grow in any major organ throughout your body, and FSGS being a form of kidney disease that causes damage to the glomeruli, which can lead to kidney disease, kidney failure, kidney transplant, or kidney dialysis, depending on the disease's progression. So if you're interested in either or, please hit that little subscribe button and hit the little bell so you can be notified on all of my latest videos. And please don't forget to hit the like button and comment below. Let me know what you think of today's video. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel as I continue to push towards my 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. I appreciate every single one of you guys, and thank you so much for the love and support. And let's get started. Okay, so why is creatinine so important, especially in today's day and age, right? Normal levels, so I'm going to give you a little bit of an example because Amber's dealing with this right now. Because Amber's on her second transplant, we have to be very cautious and very aware of her creatinine levels. That's the reason why she is every 3 months checking her creatinine levels. A normal creatinine level for any adult or for an adult are typically between 0.6 to 1.3 milligrams, or DL for men, and 0.5 to 1.1 milligrams DL for women. So Amber should be falling in that 0.5 to 1.1 if she had her regular kidneys, right? So right now she has a transplanted kidney, and her bottom line is 1.6. She's had, I think it's 1.65, I think was her lowest so far, or 1.64, something like that. Now obviously that's a little high for an average person that has both their kidneys and is working naturally. Because she has a transplanted kidney, that's her bottom line, that's her level, that's her goal on average. The last month, or this past month, we're now in October, right? So back in September, she had two tests, which she took about 2 weeks apart. Both of them, her levels were at 1.91. Now that immediately causes a red flag. Okay, what's going on? What is the issue? What could be possibly causing these issues? So two factors that we found on her second set of tests that she took, her tacrolimus was pretty high, where her levels are normally should be at about 6.5 as far as her overall level. They wanted to be about 6.3 to 6.4. The first one was about 6.5, which wasn't too bad, but the second one was pretty high. It was going into the nines. So obviously we have to adjust that. So the doctor immediately adjusted her tacrolimus. Her doctor also indicated that in order for her to get accurate numbers, to make sure that she's using the bathroom on a consistent basis. Amber has been having issues, right, where she's having problems, and a lot of that has to do again with all of the medication that she's been taking. So we have to be very aware of her medications, any levels that are thrown off, or anything that she misses, or if it's just these medications are not helping her go regularly, then that has to be adjusted. The problem is that a couple of these medications that she's also taking are helping her sleep. So if she stops taking them, she has a harder time sleeping. So now we go back to, okay, she's overly exhausted, and that could also affect her numbers. So it's all a balancing act right now. Right now, the biggest problem for her is that she's not getting enough rest and she's not using the bathroom regularly. So this is all about being able to regenerate, right? So when you sleep, as you guys are aware, that gives you an opportunity to regenerate your muscles, regenerate your overall health, just everything, your brain, everything. Like, it just makes you feel a lot better, right? So it's really, really important to be able to get rest, especially if you're on all these medications and if you have a disease like kidney disease. So why is it important for you to have good creatinine levels? High levels mean that your kidneys are not working properly. Less creatinine is being filtered out. This leads to a buildup of creatinine in the blood, which can be a sign of kidney disease or other issues affecting the kidney. EGFR, that's another blood creatinine test, which is commonly used to calculate your estimated glomeruli. It's a part of the figure that combines your creatinine levels with other factors such as your age, sex. It also gives you a more accurate picture of how well your kidneys are actually filtering waste. Like, for example, I just took Alani to the doctor. She had her EGFR test done as well. So this gave us a accurate number of where she is with her kidney functions. Everything looks great. Alani's doing great. For Amber, when beforehand, like when she's going through all this, and she was having really bad EGFR numbers, hence why she was rushed to get on the kidney list. So all this comes into play, and why it's important to be able to keep a track. I tell everybody, and I encourage everyone, because you don't really think about this stuff when you're going to the doctors, but when you're taking your kid, I highly encourage you that whenever you go take your kid to just a regular checkup, make sure that you get a urine analysis done to ensure that your kid's kidney function is good. If you see that your kidney functions are a little bit high, where the creatinine levels are a little bit high, please make sure you are consistent with testing it to make sure that this wasn't a fluke, wasn't something that your kid just came out of baseball practice, or he or she does a lot of gymnastics, or is in cheerleading, is in whatever it is where the child's really highly active, and you're going to take your kid to get the test right after. That's one thing. But if it's been like 3 days, 4 days, your kid hasn't done any type of high strenuous, any type of workouts and stuff like that, and you take your child in and your analysis shows high levels, you definitely want to make sure that you go back and test within the week, just to make sure. And then they'll do like a 24-hour urine test at home, and the doctor will push to make sure that you get further testing and ensure that you have a good, thorough look through of your numbers to ensure that there isn't an issue with your child's kidney. Do it. Do not hesitate. Do not just say, I don't have to worry about the kidneys, because this is something that can come on all of a sudden where there is absolutely zero signs that your child has any type of issues with your kidneys, and then later down the road, within like a year or so, then all of a sudden your kidney functions at like 60%. It's crazy, but it can happen. I've seen it. Look at me. It can definitely happen. Now, factors obviously besides kidney disease that can be affecting your levels or your kidney levels, a lot of times is muscle mass. People with higher muscle mass, so that means like most gym rats, as we call them, those guys that have higher muscle mass will more likely have a little bit of a higher creatinine level. And it's not, it's just because of the muscle mass. So it's really, really just what it is, unfortunately. Diet. Eating high levels of cooked meat or taking creatinine supplements can temporarily increase your creatinine levels. So if your kid loves to eat burgers, loves to eat steaks and stuff like that, you take them that day to go get tested, you might have a little bit higher creatinine levels than you would if you weren't. And that's just a temporary thing. So please make sure to go back in and do the testing again. Hydration. Being dehydrated can cause creatinine levels to appear definitely higher level, like I indicated before, too intense exercising. So these are all things that can show as higher creatinine levels that might not be. So just make sure you are going back and doing the test again when you're not doing any of this stuff. Make sure you're drinking enough fluids. Make sure that you didn't just finish a really strenuous exercise. Make sure that you understand just what to look for as far as factors are concerned before going to go check your creatinine levels. Just know, and I highly recommend this. I know that I was talking about EGFR before, but make sure that if you do have a high creatinine level, and this is the second test that you've taken, and you or your child and so forth, you want to go in there and ask your doctor to do an EGFR test from that level, just to check it, make sure that everything's okay. Because let's say you have a high creatinine level and then they do the EGFR and they see that everything's fine and normal, you don't have to worry about this stuff. But if you have a high creatinine level, the EGFR shows that yeah, there's something off, then they can go ahead and start testing you and checking you properly to ensure that this isn't something that can affect you long term. They can actually get it and address it right there and then. Obviously, if it's a long-term fix where you have some form of kidney disease and your levels are kind of thrown off with all these little changes here and there in your system, then clearly you want to be able to catch that early so that you don't get to a point where you are in end-stage kidney disease and then you have to get on dialysis. Because trust me, it's brutal. I tell anybody that doesn't understand our journey or what we're dealing with, that you really, really have to stay on top of your stuff and ensure that you're doing everything you can to prevent this form of disease in any way possible. Also understand that a big part of high creatinine levels too can be caused by medication. Certain medications like NSAIDs are really, really bad for you when it comes to your kidneys. So like ibuprofens, anything like that, like Advils and stuff like that, those are really bad for your kidneys. If you're taking too many of them, they can affect your kidneys and damage them permanently. So if you have a lot of pain and you're constantly popping 2 Advils every 2 hours, every 3 hours, taking up to 12 a day, you can damage your kidneys. So please make sure that you are looking at that medication, over-the-counter medication, looking at it and make sure that you're taking it properly, because this is something that can affect your kidneys long term. Other things are like certain antibiotics can affect them. So you definitely want to make sure that you're taking your antibiotics properly. Speak to your doctor and understand that this can definitely cause your creatinine levels to rise. Also, like H2 blockers can also be a factor in causing kidney damage if you're not taking them properly as well, or if you already have an underlying kidney issue, this can impact your kidney and definitely can be a critical factor long term. Now, other things that I highly, highly recommend, and I didn't think about this when beforehand, but after the fact when we did it and stuff like that, if you or your family member is prone for kidney disease, and or someone to, let's say, two two levels before you, maybe a grandmother, maybe your aunt, maybe your uncle, or stuff like that, have kidney disease or have some level of kidney disease, something to really look into is getting a genetics test to find out if you're prone for kidney disease. You or your husband or your wife, whoever it is, are prone for kidney disease. So the reason why is that when you have a child together, you want to be able to understand whether or not you are genetically able to pass a gene to your child, which can cause that child to have kidney disease. What is the likelihood, right? Especially if each of you guys may have a gene that can cause kidney disease, this is something that you want to check. If I was to do it differently, if I had the opportunity to do it differently, now that I'm older and stuff like that, one thing that I would have done differently was I would have taken a genetics test along with having my spouse take a genetics test before having a child, so that we understand what is the likelihood that we can pass, or what kind of genetics we can pass down to our child, so that we can understand our factors prior to having children. I think this is really important, and I think that as if you are a young person looking to have a child, right, or someone looking to start a family, I think it's really important to understand what risk factors you can pass on to your child. This is really, really critical, and it's also not only critical for your child, it's also critical for you to understand your health and what can be or cannot happen in your near future, right, when it comes to your health. So it's really about being prepared, and I think a lot of times we just tend to just want to have a family and start a family and not really think about these things, but it's really critical to understand what you're looking towards or forward in the future, and being prepared is a lot better than kind of saying, oh my god, what's going on and how do I fix this, how do I address this. And everything can change overnight, like just like our family, we're just a regular family, just going out to dinners, having fun, going to movies, taking the kids to the park and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden we're in hospital stays for weeks on end. That's pretty much how our life changed, and it was like this. So, and a big factor was because I didn't know, that, you know, my ex-husband's family history, as far as family medical history. I didn't understand it. I didn't know that what they, you know, and many of them didn't even know. So this is definitely something that had I known, at least we would have been prepared for should we decide to have a child in the near future, right? And that's something that we didn't do, and that's definitely a huge factor now in how we're handling these situations. Then after the fact, I got genetics tests. My ex has gotten a genetics test, and now we knew, and my daughter too. Both of my girls have genetics testing done, and now we know what we're dealing with versus what we could have known prior to. So right now, Amber is trying to get her levels back down. Her tachypneimus has been changed up, so it's a lot less. It's a little bit less now, so we got to manage that, and then she's going to go back to get her testing done, as long as she's regularly using the bathroom, as well as getting her levels in a way that you can kind of get these creatinine levels back down, and get them properly adjusted, so you know we don't get into the above twos, which is definitely scary. But I know she can do it. She's right on it. So when it comes to her medication, she does not play around, and you know it's scary, but you know it's taught us a lot of things, and one big thing is definitely taught us discipline and patience. Anyway, guys, thank you again so much for taking the time out to check out my video. Hope it was informative, and I hope I was able to give you guys some details on what we're currently going through in Amber's world. Like I said before, I always tell her, this is Amber's world. I'm just living in it. And thank you again, guys. And if you have any questions, any concerns, please feel free to comment below so you can help me with the algorithm, gods, and help me to continue to grow my channel. Again, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time out to check out my video. And please don't forget to focus through and evolve. Ciao.